Hello and happy Thanksgiving to anyone in the world, specifically the United States, but every day we should be thankful for something. Welcome to another edition of XFeed, where I scour the timeline to find the most relevant collectibles news to entertain you and only you. Netflix crashes within minutes of releasing Stranger Things Series 5. I open the application and I'm scrolling through Stranger Things. Absolutely nothing is working. I'm panicking and I'm thinking, okay, maybe they have something wrong on their end, which ends up being the case. But I think I turned off the TV about 6 times, tried to do it on my phone, tried to do it through a cable box, tried to do absolutely everything under the sun. And then I went online and read that just the entire site was down. So that was phenomenal to know. Also, they've created a unique record on Netflix where apparently basically all of the seasons at the same time cracked into the top 10 on Netflix, which is absurd. I didn't even realize they did it by series, but still very, very cool statistic. And then this from Collectibles Guru, highlighting from last year. And this is something that we brought up on the stream before. We've been posting about it. But a Millie Bobby Brown and Sadie Sink, 11 and Max, one of the signed cards from last year went for $4,000. Now, I've been sitting here thinking, hey, you know what? With the hype around Stranger Things, I bought a hoodie like a couple of years ago, but it doesn't really feel like there's that many collectibles. Now, maybe I haven't really gone out and looked, but we've talked yesterday on stream where the Zero Cool cards, they don't even exist anymore like as a brand. So those ones in particular might be something that people will be after. And then the New York Giants even advertising. We also highlighted the Toronto Raptors doing an ad for it, but check this one out. Yeah, so they have they have Eli Manning advertising their show with Sadie Sink on, well, I guess this was, 26th? Yeah, the night of the Stranger Things release, which I thought was kind of funny. The physical copy of Fortnite. Do you have one of those laying around? I feel like those just don't exist anymore, but there was a graded 10 A++, which I didn't even know. Like, I need to learn about like this WATA grading a little bit, right? Because we're familiar with the PSAs, the Beckett's of the world, but for WATA in video games, they rated this one absolutely mint. Back from 2017, still sealed at that, went for $42,500. Collectibles, insane. Now, this is not from this year. This is something I found back in 2023, but in similar fashion where World of Warcraft is pretty much exclusively online, one of the sealed collector's copy of World of Warcraft back, again, a couple years ago, sold for $21,600. So we're looking at basically double the price. Obviously different video games, but wild to see on that front. And if you're a SpongeBob fan, came across this, where a claymaker just recreated the Squidward scene where he got his face squished in. Absolutely hilarious. Another really cool thing that I am learning a little bit about Pokemon and the unique cards, but within this is like a Ditto set. And Yuka Mori, I believe, is the artist behind it. So I'm going to do a little bit more research, but I just thought this is one of the coolest looking sets of cards. I think this is from a few years ago, but stay tuned for more research on this incoming streams. Again, any likes, shares, comments, very much appreciated. Zootopia, love the first one. The latest one debut at 94% on Rotten Tomatoes. Well, at the same time, we are 90% through 2025. How absolutely surreal is that? Just even thinking about it. Now, if you want to talk about surreal happenings, right? A lot of us, we've probably grown up playing video games thinking, this is fun, but the opportunities to go pro, have any sort of experience, that is just not going to be me. Back in high school, we did have like a student-teacher hockey game at one point where I was able to play in, and I know that's a little bit different than eSports, but I was never somebody that played in any sort of significantly competitive sporting event that had like any sort of crowd, if that makes sense. And so that student-teacher game had a whole bunch of people out, and that was really cool. And that was also something that happened within basketball, but it was like a school thing. But either way, they had like a class assembly where they brought everybody out in the school to cheer on these guys playing video games, and I just thought it was a really cool video to share. Like, imagine just going out there ready to rip on some video game and you got that sort of crowd out there. Now, on the topic of Stranger Things that we covered a little bit earlier, Peru, at least the McDonald's Peru, doing some Stranger Things sandwich. This feels like it's the Big Mac bun, but then they just like flipped it upside down and put different bits on it. But I guess that is the entire idea. So we got to talk about something that's a little grimy, a little dingy, if you will. So Khabib, the former UFC fighter, had all these headlines. I didn't realize, but he's actually done a bunch of different digital collectibles that a lot of them had like pretty massive $1 million worth of sales on it. But he just did one recently where the digital papakas, and excuse me if I'm saying that wrong, but over on Telegram, they're doing these digital collectibles, and I guess they sold this collection out, and it was worth about $4.3 million, and then they deleted the collectibles, they deleted all the social post advertising for it. I'm still trying to fully comprehend what in the hell happened, but there's always some kind of thing with celebrities getting into like digital collectibles that just always goes completely sideways for whatever reason. And then this also as well, Candy Digital. This is something where we recently interviewed with Derek Snook, who has been collecting a bunch of Shohei Ohtani digital collectibles on the Candy Digital site. And someone saying, hey, we're waiting for our $7,000 withdrawal, which obviously we've seen problems where people have been trading on the physical front. Somebody scams, sends something not accurate in the eBay front, but for Candy Digital, having some major licenses, including Stranger Things collectibles as well from a few years ago, still trying to understand what's going on as they were associated with the Futureverse brand, who recently went into receivership, but definitely something to be paying attention to. Now, let's go to a little bit more positive news within the collectible space, and this news isn't necessarily that new. Happened a few days or a few weeks ago, but Bart Silberman joins Claynosaurs as licensing partner for collectible consumer products. And this guy's worked at Pepsi-Cola, Lucasfilm, Marvel, Mattel, Netflix, Hasbro, Disney. And traditionally, I've been, I don't know, I guess more of somebody that pushes back when you hear, oh yeah, somebody's worked with like these big titles or big brands, I should say. But that's kind of cool. So wishing Claynosaurs the best of luck, and that is a really, really cool hire. And speaking of cool things, excuse me, that just blew up my ear as well. But you ever seen the Z-Bio watch? It's off of the Harry Potter Chamber of Secrets sort of deal with the snake, right? Because in the second one, they have the snake that opens that door. If you were going to take a guess at how expensive you think this watch is, what do you think it would be? Are we talking $500 to $1,000? Are we thinking that it's super cheaply made? Do we think that it's thousands upon thousands? Do we think that it's upwards of like $10,000 to $20,000? Well, I looked for the site just to see if this was real to begin with, and it is the case. And in Canadian, it's about $8,200, which I think like if you're gonna move that to like US, we're talking like $5,000-6,000. So ultimately, the question, would you pay $6,000 for a Harry Potter watch with a chain link snake that moves within it? I mean, maybe if we had that much money to spend, but even then, I don't know about that one, bucko. So there's a pretty funny story between Dana White and this person that was collecting cards. And so kind of apropos when we're comparing the digital space to the physical space and saying, oh, you know, there's problems here, there, and the other thing. But basically the story goes is that there is a Shohei Ohtani 1-of-1 card. Dana talks with this individual. They come up with a price. They say, okay, you know, $4 million, good. Now, Dana says, okay, we'll do the deal once I go back to like my home because he's on the road, whatever. And then he gets home and it's game 7 of the World Series in which obviously the Los Angeles Dodgers end up winning. The guy comes back to him, says, deal's off. It's now $10 million. And Dana's like, yeah, never mind. People make unreal $4 million, denying $4 million, thinking that you're going to be able to get it for 10. So this post, moving to Pokemon for a second, got 9.1 million views. 9.1 million views. And it's a guy basically ripping on another dude who's trying to collect all of the first edition Kabuto Pokemon cards, saying, this guy is so funny to me because he wants to own every first edition Kabuto, and I have 3 and I'll never get rid of them for the sole purpose of him not having them. Oh. So I don't think that they expected to get 9.1 million views and get just the virality of this entire card, the post, the mission to hit. Because I feel like that being added probably just rocketed the price just a wee little bit. So celebrity autographs in the Topps Allen and Ginter. Have you ever seen Allen and Ginter? There's a whole bunch of stuff that I'm kind of learning about. And you can see with on these cards that there's a couple different athletes with on here. And then you have Drewski, which, okay, that is not an athlete. So Topps Allen and Ginter baseball returns for its milestone 20th season. Bigger, bolder, and as wonderfully unpredictable as ever. This year's set delivers a 300-card base set with 50 short prints featuring MLB rookies, legends, and stars alongside creators, champions, and icons from every corner of pop culture. Collectors will uncover the familiar and the fresh, from classic minis and foil parallels to new inserts like Sweet Victory, Wicked Curves, and State Birds, Chase Rare Chrome, and Metal Mini Parallels, one-of-one cut signatures, DNA relics, and limited edition rip cards that keep the surprising coming. Holy smoke. So there's all these different terms that I'm still fully grasping here. But if you're familiar with celebrity names, if we can just go to the basics here, but it's got Bryan Cranston for Breaking Bad, Larry David, the creator of Seinfeld and Curb Your Enthusiasm. They have Emma Roberts from American Horror Story. Goes down to a whole bunch of other people. Livy Dunn, Alexis Ohanian. If you're in the crypto space, you know that guy's kind of been around and whatnot, but he's the co-founder of Reddit. And that's kind of cool. That's kind of amongst all of these other cards you're thinking, hey, I'm going to buy for an athlete, but there. Now, you guys have probably seen gold in the news all the time because it's absolutely rocketed, but news came out kind of later yesterday that Tether is now the largest independent gold holder in the world. Now, Tether is a company that basically prints stable coins within the crypto landscape. And so they've gone out and I guess having gold on their books, just maybe they were the ones, again, most profitable company in the world from my understanding. So I want to have a perspective, if you will, and we're going to do a little bit of a shorter show because I know everybody's out doing Thanksgiving, at least in the United States, and we've been uploading a lot more shorts, and so if you guys want to see any content, I think the past couple of live streams have gotten upwards of like 200 views on YouTube, which feels insane, so obviously covering collectibles a little bit more has been a really, really good thing. But Robbie Ferguson, who works with Immutable, and Immutable is one of the blockchains that is focusing on gaming, thinking that that is going to be really massive. So he says, right now, the entire crypto gaming industry has about 7 million users. Ubisoft, which is just a single company within gaming, has 200 million, and they're launching a game on Immutable next year, which is great, fancy, whatever. Now, for argument's sake for a second, you see so much about people talking about how expensive it is for doing basically everything within life right now. And so my assumption sort of has been, you know, if people enjoy gaming, it's something easy to do, something they can do pretty much every night. But what does it look like if you're going out on the town to do something? And I came across this video that I thought was very interesting and kind of educational in a way. So this guy lives in New York and he went out to play hockey, and this is how much it cost.
In New York City on a Saturday night. First purchase, Subway, $2.90. I got a comment in a previous video saying, who the heck plays hockey on a Saturday night? I do. I love it. Hockey isn't cheap, and New York City on a Saturday can be a hell of a tab if you're going out. Bus ride, free. Thanks, Zoran. I'm just kidding. Train to bus transfers are free. Ice hockey, not so much. Our season is $620 and we're guaranteed 14 games. So that means $44.29 tonight. Also, shoulder pads and cage for obvious reasons. We're not going to the show here. This is beer league. First locker room beer, $0. Thank you, assistant and former captain. Someone said, should we get some road beers? And I said, hell yeah, because bro thinks he's McLovin. Also $0. We go to the Canuck after our game because they put all the NHL games on. Crushed a beer in this buffalo chicken wrap. A teammate got the check and the credit card points, so I Venmoed him $35. Also, our server got us a comp round of Fireball. What a beaut. Headed home, bus back to the train for another $2.90. Grand total for the night, $85.09. Not too shabby.
So $85 for a night out, obviously a social affair and whatnot, but, you know, a video game, you know, generally costs about $80 unless it's free. And you can have that as entertainment every single night. So some kind of food for you to ponder on. Food for you to ponder on. That's not the right phrasing at all. But anyway, that's it for this edition of XFeed. Hope you guys liked it. Again, any likes, shares, and comments are very much appreciated. If you check out the link down below, you'll be able to listen to me talking with some of the brightest minds in the industry on the RWA SegMints Podcast. Thank you for tuning in, and we'll talk soon. Enjoy your evening. Peace.